is Naomi Bourque. I'm originally from Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. I belong to the Gwich'in First Nation and also the Métis Nation. I'm currently living in Nelson, BC, and I am the Artist in Residence at Kootenay Studio Arts. So I originally moved to Nelson from Yellowknife to attend the Jewelry and Small Object program here at KSA. So that was 2 years, and then the year after that I took the blacksmithing and bronze casting program, the metal program back then. And then, so I have those two programs that I try to incorporate into the scope of textiles as well. And then also during the pandemic, I was able to complete a virtual high tanning program, which really showed us that high tanning and buckskin making, etc., is like the original textiles. So that really segued well into applying for this program, so that I could incorporate natural harvested materials with plant dyeing, etc. So I had developed and started production of a poncho project called Medicine Harvest. I completed 5 ponchos for my body of work last year. And then at the end of the textiles program, I had submitted the ponchos for a runway show in Toronto of this year, 2024, by the IFA, which is Indigenous Fashion Arts Week, basically. So I submitted that application, and they invited me to show my body of work for this year's show. So within that scope, I have 10 ponchos to make. So then I was invited to do the residency here to complete the body of work. When we were talking about a body of work, it was early in our fabrication and pattern making course. So I needed to do something really kind of simple because we weren't there yet. We were still sampling and learning how to sew, right? So ponchos just were kind of a natural answer to something that I could incorporate a lot of things, but keep it kind of simple. And also, I love that with the poncho, it's one size fits all, right? It's very inclusive, and that's important to me. I've always been around, a lot of these ponchos all incorporate fur and some traditional means, but being able to blend that with plant-dyed silk, for example, it just lends such a different luxury that I hadn't thought of before. And of course, with the dyeing, with plant dyeing, it's not acid dyeing. If you see a color on the box, that's the color you get. Plant dyeing is a different animal, of course, depending on the plant and depending on the fabric, right? So it's never the same, right? Which is kind of awesome too, because then it's new all the time, So I think there was a lot of trial and error there, but it seemed, because I'm doing such a large collection, that if it didn't work out for one poncho, it seems to be fitting for something else. Up till now, it's been a lot of just processing the main fabrics and foundations. All the ponchos are plant dyed. All of them have some traditional hide or skin involved, and each one I find, I don't know if I'm subconsciously doing it, but each one is being more difficult than the last one. So by the end, hopefully, the first one's going to seem really simple, and then the last will be far more intricate. So right now, it's just a matter of getting all those materials ready, and then I can assemble at the end. If I can just add one more layer, that's really important to me. And at the beginning, I was taking fabric that already had a design, for example, and then tweaking it by dyeing it. But now I'm really trying to make things tell more of a story. For example, one of my ponchos is based on berry harvesting. So in order to, instead of just, for example, screen printing berries on a piece of fabric, I chose to do a technique of, it's called composting. So I took actual berries that had been harvested, put them in silk, let them ferment for a few months, and then now when you see that fabric, it really speaks to berries, but not in such an obvious way. My grandparents were trappers. My dad trapped with his father. My mother's a furrier by trade. So there's always been fur here, you know, in my life. And so it feels at home having that. And a lot of the fur that I'm using is vintage from my mother's father's trap line. So that's including a lot of squirrel and ermine, yeah, and marten. And there has been such a stigma to fur, and it feels right now it's making a comeback because fur is green when it's sustainably harvested. And so I want to be really proud about showing people that, and just that it's like, again, the first textiles, you know. I've never participated really as a designer for textiles. I've been making jewelry for it's just about 20 years, you know, and selling that, like living off of it for a number of years. And I've had a few shows, but this is next level for me. So, and it's, you know, it's a real honor to be included with all of these, you know, high fashion designers. So it feels like such a huge year of creating for like 20 minutes on the runway. I don't even know how long it's going to take, you know, but so I think I'm just really looking forward to the relief that comes after, you know. And my daughter modeled for me when we got the professional photos done for the preliminary 5. So I'd really love if she could model for me in Toronto. That would be really special.